Hello, basketball people, we have news. Let's go to more news about the Golden State Warriors. I ask you to give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, as I am a Warriors fan. As the Warriors prepare to face the Nuggets, the injury report reveals a challenging situation. Key players are listed as questionable: Jimmy Butler and Jonathan Kuminga, adding an air of uncertainty to the matchup. The team's depth will undoubtedly be tested as they look to maintain momentum after their season opener. But head coach Steve Kerr has reported that Kuminga and Butler are expected to play, which is a relief for Warriors fans. The Warriors are reportedly considering signing big man Tyler Herro from the Miami Heat. In an effort to build the best roster around Curry as he enters the twilight of his career, the Warriors are not safe from trade rumors. Not only do they boast ample draft picks, but Moses Moody, Jonathan Kuminga, and Brandon Podziemski all command value as trade chips. If the Warriors want to make a deal, they will have their fair share of suitors. SB Nation's Mark DeLucci proposed a trade on October 21 that would send Tyler Herro from the Miami Heat to the Warriors. Trade details: Golden State Warriors receive Tyler Herro. Miami Heat receive Jonathan Kuminga, Buddy Hield, 2026 first-round pick, 2028 first-round pick, top 3 protected. Such a deal would prompt the Heat to kickstart a tank and rebuild. After all, Herro is their best player, and Bam Adebayo would also command value, giving the Heat ample ammunition to restart. Trading Kuminga, Hield, and a pair of first-round picks to Miami for Herro would give Steph his most dynamic scoring teammate since Kevin Durant left, DeLucci rationalized. Herro's familiarity with the Heat's system and track record of success alongside Jimmy Butler make it even easier to envision the 25-year-old guard fitting in seamlessly on the offensive end. Golden State Warriors hit the ground running. If the Warriors were to pull off this deal, they would likely become title frontrunners in the Western Conference, or at least rival the Denver Nuggets and Oklahoma City Thunder. Herro is a proven all-star who can play both guard positions. Should Curry get hurt, Herro can step up. If Curry is healthy, Herro would be an elite sidekick. Kuminga has long been at the center of trade rumors, and the Warriors moving on from him wouldn't be a shock. This deal would allow the Heat to rebuild with a young player and 2 picks. The Warriors, meanwhile, get an elite starting lineup and retain their depth. Curry, Herro, Butler, Green, and Al Horford are an excellent starting 5. Podziemski, Moody, DeAnthony Melton, Tracy Jackson-Davis, Quentin Post, and Gary Payton II would be waiting on the bench. If Miami wants to embrace a rebuild, dealing with the Warriors should give them all the picks they need. Golden State, meanwhile, can fight for Curry's 5th title. Steve Kerr reveals Moses Moody starting lineup intention. Warriors head coach Steve Kerr revealed what his starting lineup would have been regarding Moses Moody availability. The Golden State Warriors defeated the Los Angeles Lakers, 119-109, to start the 2025-26 NBA season at 1-0. Warriors head coach Steve Kerr opted to go with Brandon Podziemski and Jonathan Kuminga in the starting lineup, alongside Stephen Curry, Draymond Green and Jimmy Butler. Following the game, Kerr hinted at a potential starting lineup change for the Warriors once Moses Moody returns to the court, as per 95.7 The Game. The lineup decision was based on Moses Moody not being available, Steve Kerr said. I would have started Moses had he been healthy, based on how we finished last year. We really found a good group. It was not clear, however, if Kerr was referring to either Podziemski or Kuminga being replaced by Moody in the starting lineup. Lineup-wise, it would make much more sense for Podziemski to move to the bench and Moody to slot in at shooting guard alongside Stephen Curry in the backcourt. Replacing Kuminga with Moody would only complicate things in that the Warriors would be making themselves incredibly vulnerable given that potential lineup's lack of size. It took just one game for Jonathan Kuminga to show how much the Warriors need him. After a tumultuous offseason, Jonathan Kuminga gave the Warriors exactly what they needed in their season opener against the Lakers. A lot went right for the Golden State Warriors on the first night of the 2025-26 NBA season. For one thing, the Warriors went on the road and picked up a nationally televised win over the Los Angeles Lakers, controlling much of the game in impressive fashion. Golden State connected on 42.5% of its three-point attempts, won the turnover battle, and held the Lakers well below their typical level of offensive efficiency, even with Luka Doncic going for 43 points, 12 rebounds, and 9 assists. Individually, Jimmy Butler was brilliant with 31 points, and 16-16 from the free throw line. Steph Curry was Steph Curry, and Buddy Hield added 5 three-pointers off the bench. While those storylines were certainly positive for the Warriors, one could argue that the performance from 23-year-old Jonathan Kuminga was the most impactful, at least for the long term. Kuminga finished the night with 17 points, 9 rebounds, and 6 assists for the Warriors, and after making only 10 starts during the entire 2024-25 season, he was in the lineup when the opening tip occurred on Tuesday. That showing came after a well-chronicled standoff with Golden State this summer, including Kuminga flirting with accepting the qualifying offer, plenty of trade buzz, and the final agreement on a 2-year deal that most agree was almost designed to be traded. However, Kuminga drew rave reviews after the win, and particularly when it comes to his willingness to take three-pointers, 6 attempts, and buy in defensively. He may have shown the blueprint for him to stay in Golden State and contribute as more than a potential trade piece. "I think he has really matured," Steve Kerr said post-game, via Anthony Slater of ESPN. "I think he has a better sense of what's needed now compared to past years. Jimmy has really helped him too. Jimmy has talked to him a lot during camp, taken him aside during practices. Remember, Jonathan just turned 23. Jonathan Kuminga did exactly what the Warriors needed him to do." As Kerr notes, Kuminga remains quite young and, even if his playing style does not perfectly jive with Golden State's beautiful game aesthetic, he is clearly a talented player. Kuminga has averaged at least 15.3 points per game in each of the last 2 seasons and, despite some efficiency challenges, his flashes have been notable. Broadly, Kuminga provides the Warriors with shot creation that is badly needed anytime Curry and/or Butler is unavailable, but he also brings a clear dynamism as an athlete that few on the Warriors roster can match. In addition to what Kerr had to say, Kuminga received big-time praise from Draymond Green following the win. Green described a moment late in the game in which Kuminga skied for a rebound and described it as what everyone in the world has been waiting to see from the fifth-year forward. "You have that athleticism, you go make big plays. You have superstar potential, you go make big plays. Those are game-winning plays," Green continued, via ESPN. "When you ask for opportunity, you must deliver." He's been very vocal about his opportunity, and he delivered. Over 4 seasons, there have been plenty of moments in which Kuminga has been highly impactful, including a trio of 20-plus point scoring performances against the Minnesota Timberwolves during the 2025 NBA playoffs. Still, this particular effort could signal a change for Kuminga, both in his buy-in with the Warriors and also with team support of the budding standout. At the very least, Kuminga contributed at a high level to an impactful win, and each victory matters in what projects to be a highly competitive Western Conference landscape in 2025-26. Warriors must remain patient with preseason standout after quiet opener. The Warriors can't commit the repeat they made with Jonathan Kuminga with Will Richard. On the surface, preseason standout Will Richard turned in a quiet regular season debut with the Golden State Warriors. He played 14 minutes, attempted just 2 shots, and accumulated a plus-minus of -11 that those who watch the box score would suggest is proof that he shouldn't be playing yet. Rather than overreacting to a quiet statistical performance, the Warriors must remain patient with Richard as they develop him into a potentially invaluable player. Golden State selected Richard at number 56 overall in the 2025 NBA draft, with many heralding it as a steal of a pick. Late second-round selections rarely receive consistent playing time, however, which had many questioning if the former Florida Gators star would actually crack the rotation. Richard turned heads throughout the preseason with his offensive versatility and defensive consistency, however, thus rewriting the narrative on the fly. He played 14 minutes during the Warriors' regular season opener against the Los Angeles Lakers, which seemingly displays an investment in his potential. Even with an underwhelming stat line, he justified the chance Steve Kerr took on him with contributions that ranged beyond the numbers. If the Warriors are wise, they'll learn from what went wrong with the likes of Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody, and give Richard the patience he requires. Well, Richard is too talented for Warriors to get hung up on stats. Richard only attempted 2 shots, but he buried both. That includes a 3 with less than 6 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter, which is a testament unto itself to how valuable he's already proving to be to the Warriors. Golden State had a 16-point lead when Richard entered the game in the fourth quarter for Brandon Podziemski, but the fact that he was trusted to play during the final frame is nothing short of intriguing. Kerr is already trusting Richard to play meaningful minutes, even if he is waiting until there's something of a cushion to do so. That seems to speak to the value Richard displayed as a high-intensity defender during the preseason. It may also lend credence to the offensive contributions the NCAA champion provides with his off-ball movement and proficiency as a finisher. It takes time for players to develop confidence in their offensive skills, however, particularly when they play for a team with star power. The Warriors are the extreme example in this regard, with Jimmy Butler and Stephen Curry running the offense. Golden State also needs to find touches and shot attempts for the likes of Draymond Green, Buddy Hield, Kuminga, Moody, and Podziemski, thus decreasing the opportunities for Richard. By looking past the statistics, however, the Warriors can see how Richard offers invaluable defensive intensity and the versatility to play any number of roles. He can create for himself or others in a pinch, slashes in off-ball situations instead of exclusively valuing jumpers, and has an at least respectable outside shot. Richard may need time to realize his potential, but the ebbs and flows that come with his development must not be punished with a decrease in playing time. Jimmy Butler explains why he's thriving in Golden State. Everybody pays attention to Steph. I got the easy job. Jimmy Butler's career has received a new lease on life ever since he was moved to the Golden State Warriors at the NBA trade deadline earlier this year. After thriving with the Miami Heat during the early years of his 6-season tenure, where he led the team to 2 NBA Finals appearances, the tenacious guard eventually found himself on rocky ground. His push for a contract extension, coupled with a trade request, led to tensions within the organization and ultimately earned him a reputation as a malcontent. All of these older guys are high IQ basketball players. Lou Williams highlights how the Warriors are built. After an extended standoff, Butler was eventually shipped to the Bay Area, in the process rejuvenating a Warriors team that had been dead in the water for most of last season. After helping to lead the Dubs to the second round of the playoffs, Butler kept his foot on the pedal and scored 31 points in their season-opening win over the Los Angeles Lakers. Asked for the reason behind his career revival, the 36-year-old provided a succinct explanation. Butler gets to play second fiddle. Butler is the rare player whose journey has taken him from being a benchwarmer during his rookie season to becoming a team's primary option, a role that he flourished in with the Heat, where he averaged 21.0 points on 49.8% shooting, 6.0 rebounds, and 5.7 assists per game. During his time on the Heat, the offense revolved around Butler. However, things are a bit different on the Warriors, especially with the presence of Stephen Curry. Aware of Curry's, and to some degree, Draymond Green's, standing on the franchise, Butler didn't arrive in the Bay Area looking to take over. He came to fit in. In doing so, he has discovered newfound joy for the game. In a league where star-switching teams is an annual occurrence, could the Golden State Warriors trade for Milwaukee Bucks All-Star Giannis Antetokounmpo with an offer that includes Jimmy Butler? Fox Sports' Colin Cowherd thinks it should be prioritized. As Butler sets out to prove his critics wrong in his first full season with the Warriors, Cowherd is skeptical, while the Bucks are one disappointing season away from receiving an Antetokounmpo trade request. Some say it's less as the clock is ticking on whether the Bucks can make their first deep playoff run following 3 consecutive first-round exits. Antetokounmpo has already threatened to play for another team if Milwaukee doesn't emerge as a title contender this season, which sets the table for an enticing trade package for the Warriors, as Cowherd noted, per Fox Sports once the herd. Jimmy Butler's a fling. He's not a phase. And I think it's time for the fling, at the trade deadline, to end, Cowherd said. And I love Jimmy Butler. But Steve Kerr is too smart to think that 37-year-old Steph Curry, 35-year-old Draymond Green, 36-year-old Jimmy Butler, and now 39-year-old Al Horford can compete in the West? They can't. For Colin Cowherd, the Warriors can offer a trade centered on a veteran who can help the Bucks win now and a 23-year-old forward with high upside who's on the cusp of becoming a 20-plus point scorer, in exchange for Giannis Antetokounmpo. I would trade Jimmy Butler, Jonathan Kuminga, and 4 first-round picks for Giannis, and see if it's enough, Cowherd added. Jimmy Butler played at Marquette. So, he's coming home, and he's still a lethal free throw shooter, big game performer. Jonathan Kuminga averaged 20 a game last year when he didn't play with Steph. They don't work that well together. Although when he didn't play with Steph, he had some really nice nights. And he's a better player today. And he's only 23-year-old, and then 4 first-round picks, and first-round picks are going to be more valuable than they were the previous decade.